Oh my God. Okay, no. Imagine just like you playing on show and just like, whoa, we're halfway there.
So basically, you've got.
Oh my God, if you could do that.
Today, music show with me, Ronan McManus, here on Switchbox TV today. I'm joined by an award-winning LA-based pop singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist known for his clever lyrics and energetic pop production. Please welcome Hariz. How are you doing?
What's going on?
Did I pronounce that correctly? I did. Hariz.
Yeah. It's Hariz. Yeah.
Hariz,
Most people go
okay.
Hariz, but I've heard it like a billion trillion different ways. So like, don't even stress.
No, that's all good. All good. So how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, just living the fun COVID life.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking just before actually we started recording about LA. You're in LA and you're saying how you wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the world, making us feel very jealous about the fact that we're sat here in freezing cold London. It was a bit sunny today, but apparently it's raining tomorrow. Back to normal. So yeah. So so if you're going to be locked down and you know be able to only do sort of outdoor walks and stuff, it seems LA is going to be a good place to do all that. So what's the last sort of year or so? It's come up almost exactly a year, isn't it? Really, I suppose since the pandemic hit, and obviously it's going to hit the music business very hard. So what's the last year or so been like for you?
Basically, it's really funny because I started the pandemic coming off of a tour. I was doing a little bit of an East Coast tour, mixed with like a radio tour, and I came back and all of a sudden everything just shut down. So in the beginning was kind of struggling to figure out like, okay, what do we do? And a bunch of like these online festival stuff, playing those like online shows and doing online sessions, which is like super weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last year just pretty much like been working and doing as much as I can, as far as like releasing music and writing music and stuff like that, and just hopefully waiting to get back to shows. I mean, that's kind of where my heart lies. I love writing music, I love recording music, but nothing compares to like, when you're on stage and just that connection and vibe,
Yeah, no, amen. Yeah, absolutely. But it seems like you were coming off the back of a kind of a tour. That was the sort of cycle you were on. So in some ways it's kind of like you kind of had done that before the lockdown. In some ways that's good. In other ways it just highlights the going from 100 mile an hour to zero. The contrast to that must have been quite jolting to the system.
It like everyone else, I went through like a little bit of a period of like a down period where you're just like, wow, like I took everything that was so simple for granted, like everything that you could do before, all of a sudden you can't. And now it makes me like, when everything opens up back again, and I just want to like do everything and anything. I don't care how tired or bored I am. I'm just going to do it. I don't care.
I've got my third gig today and it starts at 3:30 in the morning, but I'm going to do it because I'm not so
exactly.
And there'll be similarly music.
I'm not the one to go out to bars. I usually go when my brother and my cousins are back home and like it's like Christmas and we come back for home and like we'll go out to bars and stuff, and I'm not, besides that, like I really don't care to, but now 100% every night, every single night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, I don't care, we're there.
There'll be some hardcore gig goers as well, but music lovers who are going to be out there like, give me all the live music you can give me. I'm going to stand in this one spot and you just throw bands at me. I'm not going to move. So I feel like there's going to be this major sort of positive backlash, coming into it. So, which is going to be quite exciting, I suppose, coming from this sort of like completely stagnant year. But you have been sort of releasing music. I saw that your last single you released, according to Spotify, was November at the end of last year.
Yeah, so I did.
So what's the update on? So basically, what did you release last year, and what we are going to get properly into what's coming up, but you can touch on that a little bit now.
For sure, yeah, no. So last year we had, if I remember, I had in the beginning of the year, I Don't Feel Bad, and we were doing a little radio tour around that, and then we were really trying to push another song that came out in June, I can't remember, called I Got You, where we did a little bit of radio push there, and that one ended up really working really well. Ended up getting in the top 10 for radio's most added on
Right.
Billboard here in the US, which is super awesome. Got down to like number 36 on top 40, the top 40 radio
Wow,
stuff,
that's
which
brilliant.
is really awesome.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that worked really well. And then kind of rode that for a while, and then released The Reason back in November. And yeah, that for me was like just a little bit like a slower year, because again, just like trying to follow what's going on with COVID. But I really loved The Reason, and I feel like I didn't really give that all the love that I could. So at the top of this year, I released the acoustic version. Last year I had an acoustic video for it, but then I, like, for some reason we just didn't put it on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. And so then I was like, it needs to live there, and it just came out like back in February. So yeah, it's still, relatively new.
You sort of still feel like you're in that song still, it's just,
Yeah.
which is sort of, it's important, I suppose, to give the good thing about kind of doing the single thing and releasing songs in their own. It gives them all their little time to shine, and I think that's really important. And I suppose November's kind of a strange time, because coming into kind of December, and obviously in the US you had all this stuff going on with the election and kind of
yeah, it was a really
transition
interesting time.
Very diplomatic choice of words there, but
yes.
obviously some stuff happened early. I don't know if you heard, but there's some stuff happened early January. There was something happening in Washington DC. I don't know.
No,
I don't know the details,
like really
but something happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can sort of see, so I can understand that maybe, music probably wasn't on the top of everyone's sort of agenda, as far as giving it their attention, and I can see how songs may have been kind of lost in that time, and so maybe giving it a bit.
And plus with holidays too, I mean, Thanksgiving and Christmas are like, everybody's just focused on that, and so like the end of the year is always a very interesting time to release music.
But it sort of feels like last year. You kind of feel like if there was ever a year to kind of break those rules, it was that one, because people are people are consuming music maybe in a different way than they would.
I'll tell you, I call last year the great equalizer, and the reason I say that is because it threw every person in the industry into the deep end. Like, everyone was struggling to figure out what to do. So it wasn't like major labels had this upper hand. Like, they have all the resources and connections and blah, 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 but at the same time, like, they can't tour, people aren't listening to the radio as much, or people aren't, going to live shows because they can't. So it's like everybody's like freaking out. Okay, what do we do to help people consume music? And, that was pretty much like social media, being a savior for, like, I mean, like, I'm trying to remember what's his face just like hit it huge off of social media. One of my friends, his name is Sam Fisher. I'm sure you know his song This City, right? This City like took off and like just killed it last year. There's like a bunch of people, just like TikTok song just kept blowing up, because it's like that's where new music was coming from. And so, everybody just kind of, including me, hopped on the train of like, hey, we got to get on TikTok and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that was it. It was kind of the year for the innovator, wasn't it, really? Because it was like, okay, people aren't going to just take it like anything boring, released in a boring way or a kind of conventional way. That people quickly got bored of that. So, new ways to connect, new ways, obviously, to connect live as well, because that was another thing. Obviously, with no shows, there was still an appetite for live, or some kind of, so finding new ways to innovate within that as well. Through social media is kind of, so it was a really interesting time for that. And it's really, having done this show, pretty much, Switchbox TV was born from a bunch of people losing their jobs through COVID, and me being I'm a professional musician, but I've gone into sort of basically talking to musicians about music for the last year.
Okay, so there you go.
So we've found it so interesting talking to people about, everyone's got their own ways of doing it. Everyone's been doing different kinds of like Zoom gigs and live things, and I mean, what did you do some live stream stuff, or were you doing any kind of?
Oh yeah, no, all the time.
Twitch was. Have you got to Twitch and all that? Anything like that? Because that's something that came up in a recent podcast.
So I didn't do anything. Like I didn't do something specifically on Twitch, but I did a couple shows where like there's this thing called Road Nation, where they have like a page on Twitch and on YouTube and on Facebook, and when they're live streaming, it goes out to all three, and then Twitch has that main carousel, so like is on the main carousel and things like that.
Great.
So like I did some stuff there, but mostly was like Instagram Live, and then like those online festivals and stuff like that where they have their own kind of thing that people just watch on. But yeah, that and then there's another thing called Sessions, which is really awesome, and I just like do a couple shows a month on there, just for both, one, just doing shows to do shows, and two, honestly, it's like great practice for getting back on the road and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean,
you're keeping yourself in shape, like, because
really,
I found this. We had a brief moment where the restrictions lifted and there was some gigs again, and I hadn't done a gig in like 6 months at this point. It was like September time or something like that, and I did a gig, and I was just not match fit whatsoever. My voice was going, I was tired, my back was hurting. I was like, I'm a bit older than you, maybe it's starting to show, but I mean, it's important to keep your chops going, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, really, it really is. I mean, what's that? What's it say? What's the quote say? If you don't use it, you lose it.
And when you're doing these live things, do you like to do them with just the guitar, or do you do them to because I know your stuff.
I do it. So like piano's my main instrument. I started with piano. So I do a mix of pretty much everything. But yeah, it'll be between the piano and the guitar. I love doing like things without like an instrument as well, just because it gives me more freedom to move around and jump. I'm like very active. If I'm not sweating by the end of the show, then something's wrong. But yeah, the only thing I've noticed is like when I'm doing shows here, like live streaming and stuff, like just doing it without an instrument doesn't feel right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So mostly it'll be guitar. Like I usually start out with guitar just because I like to move in the beginning, and then when I get to my more like sentimental stuff, I'll transfer over to the piano and stuff like that. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So I mean, don't you? Because I know your stuff's kind of got just very sort of pop production and kind of modern production. So do you use the sort of like backing tracks and that kind of thing when you do live stuff? And,
yeah.
Because I mean, I've never done that sort of thing. I've always just been with the guitar or whatever, I'll
tell you, I mean, it's the age old thing of saying, like, if you like, a song is good is if you can like sing it with just a guitar and you, and then also have it with like this major production. So, I do all my songs by themselves.
Yeah,
I can, but for me, like, just because I have the opportunity and I will do it with the backing track. But really, at the end of the day, if your song's good, you can do it with just you and a guitar, you and a piano, and that's pretty much all you need.
Well, you've shown that with doing the acoustic versions and doing the sort of piano versions, and
there you go.
You've shown that the song can live in two completely different worlds almost, and it's still the same song.
Yeah.
And, is that something's obviously important to you from a songwriting point of view, that you
100%
that you're not relying on the production, that the song stands on its own.
100%, because that makes it even more universal. There's like this whole thing of what's really attractive in a song, what makes it popular. Is it the lyrics? Is it the beat? Is it the rhythm? Is it the melodies? Like it's a combination of all of it. But at the end of the day, like I'd like totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah, but you were talking about, this is what I was saying with there's nothing wrong with production playing a part in why
so like, for example, I remember now, like I have a song called Morning, right? And it is super like more EDM based. Like that's as EDM as I've gone. And when I was pushing it to radio and doing these radio tours, I would walk into the station and we do our interview, and then it would come time to do like a little acoustic performance. And they'd be like, how is this going to happen? Because it's very electronic. And so I took the song and literally made it a piano ballad, because like, if you listen to Morning, like really what it makes it is like the rhythm and the melodies and stuff like that. And it's not really one that you pay attention so much to the lyrics, except when I do it like more acoustically, that's when you're paying attention to lyrics, because it really is it's a love song, not for like, hey, I want to pick you up. It's a love song as in, wow, I'm fucking lucky to wake up next to you.
Yeah.
Like that's
what
amazing.
That's how most men feel. And and to be fair, that's probably rightly so as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
But I think that's testament to your voice as much as anything else, because you've got such a great voice. You can see that, and also doing that, changing the song around, you can really almost gives it a different meaning, doesn't it? It brings
exactly.
Gives it a completely different feel, and people can connect to it in a different way.
Absolutely.
Have you found that reaction that you've got completely different reaction or unexpected reaction to songs, and you've done it in a different way?
100%. Yeah, it's always fun, especially with Morning. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, they'll see me walking in with a keyboard and they're like, what the hell is going on? And so it definitely keeps it interesting, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I wanted to go back to sort of the start of your career, but actually I'm going to go back further than that. Growing up, where you kind of was it a musical upbringing? It sounds like you've, judging by winning awards at 17 years old, it seems like maybe there was a misspent musical childhood going on. Was that the case?
No. So like my parents weren't really super musical, but there was always music playing throughout the house. So in that aspect, yeah, like definitely a very musical upbringing. But I just remember like just always being very, I would like sing all the time, and my dad's like, you learned to talk, or you learned to sing before you talked. And I was like, oh. And like at 4 started putting me in piano classes and doing classical training there up until about 8-9 years old is when I started being like, oh, I think I want to write songs, like this would be kind of cool. And so I started like experimenting and doing little stuff, but it wasn't until about 11 I started writing my own songs, and all throughout this time I'm still doing classical piano training and stuff like that. So the beginning of my career, I was writing Elton John kind of songs. Like,
I was going to say to you, what were you listening to at this time? What was it sounding like?
Yeah, like this was like very cliche writing. And to put it in that aspect, it was just like very weird. But the production and musical background was like Elton John kind of piano style playing. And then I started transitioning way more to pop around like 14, 15, when I started getting a lot more serious and other people started getting involved. And I don't ever really talk about this, but I did America's Got Talent when I was like 14.
Did you? What was that like?
So it was very interesting. I will say it's not as what you expect like being on one of those shows would be. And I'll just like leave it at that because there's like a whole thing behind it. But like, yeah, that was fun. It was a good experience. And it definitely like opened my eyes a bit to like the industry, and I met a lot of really cool people through it, and through that I like kind of developed the career more. And then at like 17 I started on the Hariz project, and the whole reason why I didn't want to go with Justin is just because there's so many Justins in the world today in music. So I was like, I think I should just do something different. And I was like, let me just go with my last name because it's still me, right? Yeah. And it's different and it's cool. So I started that and spent 2 years just writing, not releasing anything, just writing and trying to get like that sound that I was looking for. And it was right around Overboard that I was like, all right, it's time, and put that out, and it ended up doing super well. And ever since then, just kind of been putting out music and touring and doing shows and blah blah blah. It's the fun musician life.
Well, I find it really interesting, like, you know, all the ingredients that goes into, because all those experiences that you just mentioned, it was kind of a fast track through it all. I was going to try and jump in a few times, but you
go for it. Sorry, I get my train of thought sometimes.
But I said, but like all of those things are important parts of the development from.
Oh yeah.
From sort of from feeling like you're mimicking Elton John and you know but I'd done that. I mean, I look back at some of the songs I wrote when I was 11 and 12, and that's your early foray into this stuff, and it's never going to be stuff you're going to stand by now, is it? But it's just,
no, God, no. I will never listen. Like I was in 8th grade, I thought I was so cool. I recorded. I had this. Man, if I can find it, that'd be so funny. But I have this little recorder that my dad got me, and I recorded 6 songs for this little EP that I made, and literally went around school handing out my CD to everyone.
Yes.
It was so funny. And
you're already giving away your music for free. You're ahead of your time.
I know. I was
preparing yourself in the music business.
Yeah. But like, what's even funnier about that is like I lost all the music to it, and I never kept a CD for myself. But it wasn't until like maybe 6 months ago, my friend was cleaning out his garage because of COVID. He's like, I have nothing better to do. And he found the CD, and he's like, I found this. Do you want it? I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
so I took it.
I want them all.
Oh, listen.
I want every single copy of that I can get.
I thought I did. And then I listened to myself and I went, wow, I developed quite a bit since then. Whew. Yeah.
So that's a necessary part of the development, isn't it? I mean, it's necessary to sort of to have those writing bad songs, but at the same time, you've got to think about at the time you were proud of it enough to record it and give it to people.
Oh yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I'm sure you know, like the more bad songs you put out, the more good songs you're gonna get. The more good songs you put out, the more great, the more undeniable, right? Yeah. So it's just a habit that you build. But what's even better about listening back to where you were is it gives you like confidence to be like, wow, now I recognize how much I've grown from then. And so it's a good confidence booster, even though it might make you cringe.
Yeah,
but, you know,
it's good. But all you can think of is to try and think of if that was like a little brother of yours or a little cousin of yours or your friend's little brother or someone who was starting out, you'd be encouraging them to do that. You'd be saying, no, do that. Get yourself record and to have that confidence in yourself, because that's all part of the development, you know. And so you kind of have to, even though it's cringeworthy to listen back to it because it's you. But if you think if you're someone else, you could be quite proud of that guy who had the confidence to do that and was trying to get the music out there. You're already showing signs of wanting people to hear this stuff, and that's really great. I mean, without delving into the America's Got Talent, because I know you sort of didn't want to talk too much about that, but
yeah, I mean, it's just like there's nothing like super wrong about it.
No,
like there's nothing bad at all.
Say it was a general kind of a negative experience, or did you find there were positives that came out of it?
No, I found it I thought it was positive. Definitely, the experience was positive because it taught me like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But I do feel like it's not something that I would want to be a part of. Again, just because it seems like a bit fake to me. Yeah. Like they just try to build a story around people rather than focus on what they're offering, you know? And like it felt like they were kind of pushing me towards like my mom passed away when I was 8. And it's felt like they were kind of focusing on like, oh, he's doing music because, you know, his mom passed away and this is one of their last connection. And it's like, yeah, you know, I like my mom taught me one of my first songs on piano. Like that's okay, but like I don't base my whole career around like because my mom passed away I'm doing it. No, I do it because it's like I breathe in music, you know. I don't see myself anywhere else.
Well, this was one of the things that got me. There was a X Factor over here, and there was a guy on there called Matt Cardle who actually won the one that One Direction were on. He, you know, One Direction never won X Factor.
Yeah,
this guy Matt Cardle won it, and you know he was a musician for years and years and years. The reason why he won it is because he was a gigging musician and had the experience, and there's, you know, but they said, oh no, he's a painter and decorator. You know, he's out, and he was painting his friend's house, but it was more fun for them to say, or a better story for them to say that he'd walked off the street from painting people's houses, and he's a painter and decorator, to now suddenly he's just walked on and he's this good. You know, he's that good because
and I mean, like,
honed his craft.
I get it. Like, I know why they want to do that. Because, you know, a story is always interesting, and like the underdog story is always great. But, you know, I don't know if bending the truth is always the best case scenario for, you know, what you need to do. You know, maybe who they are is authentically good enough.
And also, if somebody like Matt Cardle had worked very hard at being a musician, learning his craft, doing gig after gig after gig, learning songs, studying the craft of songwriting and recording and singing, why is that not working hard at something to be good at it? Is that not a good enough story? Then
exactly.
They're selling the fact that X Factor can make you famous from nothing, when actually you should be saying, well, if you work hard at it, you can achieve what you want to achieve, and that to me should be a good enough story. But
because I think what's nice, like what people like to see, is like when people get the 1 in a million chance, like, oh my gosh, he went from this to that with absolutely nothing, while like in the 99% of cases in the music industry is people have been working their butt off for years and years and years with nothing happening, and then finally something catches fire. Like, you know, Bieber, everybody uses Bieber as like the overnight sensation, and he was an overnight sensation, but people don't remember, like, he was I think he was the number one or like the top 5 most subscribed YouTuber at one point before he got a record deal or Usher met him and so on and so forth. Like he like was already gaining popularity slowly by himself. Cardi B, same thing. Like, Cardi B didn't come out of the woodwork. Like, she worked hard to get where she is, you know?
Well, this is it, but it's like, it's that person sitting on the sofa sitting on their sofa watching it and going, oh, he walked off the street and he's on TV, I can do that too. And that's what they're selling, is it? They're selling the idea. And that's when you get all those embarrassing people that their friends have told them they can sing, and then they come on and they can't believe that they're being told that they can't sing. So you get, I suppose that's kind of what they're, but I mean, it must have been quite an experience at that. You said you were 14 years old when you went, must have been a real eye opener, but it's good that maybe it helped you to see which direction you did want to go in.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, every single, when you get in the industry, unfortunately, like, you know, there's going to be sharks. There's going to be like people that don't have their best interest, or have your best interest in thought. And sometimes the only way to learn is like the hard way, unfortunately. But like through that, you learn so much about yourself, and you're like, wow. And because of that, like, I've known how to take advantage of opportunities in a different light, that have pushed and propelled my career forward, that otherwise I might not have been able to really do had I not experienced the things before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what was it like skipping forward to Overboard? Because that's got like 1.5 million streams, and the remix has the same.
Yeah.
There's is it I'm assuming it's
Zookeeper.
Yeah. So that was the main track and the remix both have 1.5 million streams. That's your first release that appears on Spotify. Was it your first release, and what was it like sort of seeing that blow up? What was that like?
Definitely, like, I was dumbfounded because I couldn't believe that it was really taking off. And finally, I felt like, okay, now, like everything was just super in line. Like, I know I'm being like really jumpy here, but like, you know, I really didn't want to release anything until I really felt confident about what I was putting out. And Overboard was the first thing that I really felt like, oh yeah, like this really feels like me. And so I put it out, and it felt really good to see like that confidence being like accepted.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I was just like, I need to do more and more and more and more and never stop, you know, like, and, you know, obviously, you know, some of my songs don't have the same amount of plays, but they make me just as happy. Because it's like, you know, I know that they can achieve the same thing real often, and I've achieved more, especially with I Got You, you know, on Spotify. I think it's still less than Overboard or whatever, but I mean, I achieved more with I Got You than I did with Overboard, and then with The Reason, I'm getting different opportunities than I am with the rest of the songs. And so every single song is just like keeps building and building and building, and yeah, it's just like it's such a heartwarming thing to know that people are really connecting with what I'm doing. And especially like, I love looking through my DMs. I mean, you either get the really weird comments and messages, or you get the really heartfelt ones that are like, hey, I was in a really bad mood today, but I listened to The Reason, cried my eyes out, and I feel better. Thank you so much. Like,
that's good. Yeah.
You know, wow. I feel amazing for that. And hopefully like these next set of releases, will accomplish the same and even more, you know?
Fantastic. And you've been working with lots of different songwriters over the time. And what's that? How do you find that process?
The best. I mean, I love writing by myself, but writing with other people gives you so much more out of yourself. I mean, just the bounce off of ideas, really, again, lets you know what you like, what you don't like, what you could never really think of until someone brought it up, and you go, oh wow, like this is actually what I want to go for more. So, you know, writing with different people gives you all these different perspectives, and there are different experiences definitely play into what you're writing and producing. And
that's
yeah, I mean,
it's interesting that you say the opens, maybe like it's opening doors for you, validating sides of you. You're thinking, okay, maybe you know someone else is seeing that in you, and drawing that out of you, and sort of giving you almost permission to add that to your sort of side to you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's the same as like listening to music, right? You know, if you only stick to listening to, let's say, like pop, and don't really listen back to like maybe like grunge or like 80s new wave or whatever, like you're only going to write songs within that line because that's all you know. But if you like widen your horizon and really take little bits and pieces about like, you know, there's songs that I don't like, right? And this is my favorite thing to do. I find songs that I don't like and I go, why don't I like it? And then what do I like about this song that made me want to keep listening to it? And take what worked about a song that I don't like and be like, okay, maybe I should like throw it in, because the reason why, like, especially if the song got super popular and I just don't like it, I'm like, why did it work?
Yeah.
Why did it work? You know? So, yeah.
It's sort of, I mean, I find that it's really, really important. It must be really, actually a bit harder in the sort of the last year or so, being everyone's kind of being so insular, is getting other people's opinions and having people to bounce off. Is that something that you have people around you that you can bounce ideas of, even if you've written a song on your own? Do you have people that you bounce things off?
Oh yeah, management. I have like social media people. I have friends and stuff like that. I'll just like send it around and get opinions, because each person's perspective is going to be like different. You know, my friends are not in the music industry whatsoever, so you know, them listening to a song is much different than my manager's listening to a song. And, you know, we can talk like about production and you know, the vocals and all that stuff, like in detail. All my friends are like, yeah, this is a vibe, or nah, this is not a vibe. Like they're very clear cut, which is good, because it's like they're what I'm kind of aiming for, you know, them. And Absolutely. It's like what my age range is, like 14 to like 23. That would be like my demographic. So, you know, if they and especially my sister, My sister's 16, 17. Oh my gosh, she just turned 17. Why am I getting older? But like her opinion is like super important to me because like she's into the music scene 100 billion%, but not a musician at all. And like what she says, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, she definitely has a little bit of influence on what I'm putting out.
So you got some fantastic market research just right there on tap.
There you go.
That's important. The Secret to My Success by Hariz,
there you go.
17-year-old little sister. Behind every great man is a great woman, as they say.
Boom, there you go.
And just celebrating International Women's Day yesterday. So
exactly, yeah. No, I put up a little post about her. I mean, she's. I love my sister. What can I do about her?
But it's great to have that, you know, to have that market research. You say your friends, and as well as having the professionals to give their opinion. It's important to have.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this whole thing. You don't want to trust too much in really anyone because if you, like, it's you mostly, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can take opinions and stuff like that, but take them with a grain of salt. And the reason I say that is because, you know, everybody doesn't know what they want until they have it right in front of them, because something that they deem, there's so many songs I'm sure that you've heard on the radio or heard on Spotify that in the beginning, the first time you hear it, you're like, what the hell? And then 2 months down the line, you're at a club and everybody's screaming the lyrics, you know, and sometimes it just takes a second to work, but it really is like an amazing thing. And you know, you don't want someone to be like, oh, this is disgusting, and you just never put it out, and all of a sudden the opportunity is lost. So
well, there's that always that thing. There's always that thing of the artist being the worst person to choose the singles. You know, you just get too close to a song sometimes, and they go, you're like, no way, and then you put it out, and it's like, oh yeah, I was wrong, you were right. Fair play.
Yeah, no, there was this little inside scoop of. Do you remember that song "Sail" by AWOL Nation?
I'm not
the one that goes da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na.
All right, yeah.
So the way that went about, apparently they sent that song to their label, and the label came back and was like, you can't have a song with only one word in the chorus. Like you need to like write more. And so they tried it and they sent it back. And then like after a bit they were like, no, screw this, we're gonna do it with only one song, and released it, and boom, and it was like, here you go. Haha, told you we could. So again, don't
rules.
Exactly, like, don't have to always follow the rules. Like, it's okay to break them.
Yeah. And I see you do a brilliant Britney mashup.
Yeah, that was fun.
How did that come about? Tell us a little bit about that, and sort of covers in general. Would you enjoy doing covers?
Yeah, I love doing covers when I can make them like slightly different. You know, playing them just like what the regular chords and stuff are. It's fun and it's great, but I like always adding a little bit of a spin, kind of like, you know, what I was saying with playing the songs either the way that they were produced or playing them acoustically. Like, I just want to change them up a little bit to give them like a different light, to be like, it could be this way. So with the Britney mashup, the way that came about was my cousin's boyfriend, he likes Britney a lot, and so I was just like listening to Britney because of him again, and I was listening to Oops, I Did It Again, and Hit Me Baby One More Time, and I was like, these songs are like vaguely similar. Like, what if I could mash them up into the same song? And so, like, what's so brilliant about it is that, like, if you really didn't know the two songs, you would think it's the same song, you know? And so I was like, I think this would be really cool to do, and gives it like a little different meaning as well. And yeah, it was a fun little experiment that I was just like, I just want to put out in the world and see what happens. And yeah, it was received well as well, so can't complain.
Obviously a bit of support for Britney at the moment as well. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would have loved that. And actually what's really funny is it was right around the time of the 20-year anniversary of those songs. And
okay. Right.
and I was like, wow, like the timing worked out immensely perfect. It was a complete accident. I wish I could say I planned it, but it worked. So
yeah, just marketing genius that you are.
Yes, I planned it from the beginning. Yes, yeah, no.
Sitting in your evil lair with a little white cat, you know, and they will love it more.
Yeah. Oh God, the little Austin Powers.
And so, what's the future hold for you? What's the immediate future, and what's the sort of overarching plan?
Definitely. So we got a new single coming out March 19th, which I haven't announced yet, but I'll let you guys know. So that one will be the start of the EP that I've been holding on to for quite a while. So we're planning a release every 6 weeks up until the EP comes out. And
Fantastic.
we're aiming for that to come out July, August time, depending on how, we see how things are working and stuff like that. And I hopefully by that time things will open up. So starting to do shows again, back to touring and seeing all the lovely people that I can. But that's like the really short snippet, but I'm like super excited to finally like get back to normal. I just want to get back to normal.
Feels like it has to be this time. I mean, we've had so many stops and starts, especially. I mean, I know that in this country we've kind of been in and out of lockdowns, and just when they feel like we're getting somewhere, we're kind of back again. And so I feel like surely this time now with vaccines around, we should kind of be getting to a place where we can all be in a sweaty mess in a room together watching someone sing songs on stage. That's
definitely we can get back to that. 100%. And I think 100% with the vaccines going around now and actually having a solid plan to get them, definitely administered in a timely order, we'll be there in no time. I think people realize that. I think like especially in the US, we went from like super serious lockdown to like down to a kind of lockdown, and in that time like July, August everyone was just like, screw it, we're going back to normal. And that kind of put us way back into where we were at the end of the year. And then
same thing happened here.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully I unfortunately don't think that all people are very smart. But I think that we have enough smart people now, and the vaccines with that will be enough to like carry us into a new old way.
Absolutely. Amen to that. And right, they've got a question, which is the dream gig question I always ask, which is basically this is your dream gig. You're on first. There's someone on after you, and then there's a headline act. There can be anybody from history, and it can be whoever you like. It's completely your choice, and you have to choose the venue, and wherever it is, it's packed. You don't have to worry about selling the tickets. It's a packed audience.
Man.
So you're on first. Someone after you, a headline act. Who is it for you?
Okay, see, like that's a hard question because if it's now, then it'd be the weekend.
I'm not here to ask easy questions. You see, that's
so I mean,
exactly,
of course. Yeah. If I had to say right now, I think the artist would be The Weeknd. But if it could be anyone from history, since you said anyone from history,
I did say that. There's actually two. You can choose two. There's an act after you, and there's one there's a line as well.
So then I choose The Weeknd, and this would be a really weird concert because like it'd just be very diverse fans. But I do The Weeknd, and then I would do the Eagles.
Yes.
I want to be at an Eagles show. Oh, okay. But see, this is really hard because my heart lies. I'm a big 80s person. So literally, like, can you imagine, like, oh my God, like, can you imagine playing a show with Aerosmith? Like, can you just like imagine that? Or like Journey, like
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Imagine just like you playing on show and just like, whoa, we're halfway there.
So basically, you've got.
Oh my God! If you could do that, like,
so your gig is the weekend fronting the Eagles, followed by some sort of '80s rock supergroup.
Yeah,
I
think that's where I'm at. I want that major sing back, like the crowd goes so far you don't even know where it ends, like that kind of thing. As far as the venue, I mean, the O2 Arena, or of course you have to say Madison Square Garden, because you made it when you sold out Madison Square.
Well, especially if you're doing a show that you've organised and headlining it is stood there as John Bon Jovi and Steven Tyler, so you've done all right probably at that point. Yeah, if you can do that, if you can put that gig together, you can play anywhere. I mean, anywhere, any venue will have you. If you can say, I can guarantee you this gig, they're like, you're done. That's it.
There's that, and then like, oh my God, because like I have so I don't know if I can like turn my camera a bit, but like I have like my records on the wall here.
It's just never mind.
Yeah, so never mind. Nirvana. Like, can you imagine playing a show with Nirvana? Can you imagine playing a show with Pink Floyd? Like, come on! Like, it's such a difficult question to be like, who do you want to play a show with?
Easy.
Yeah, I know, but come on, give me a break.
So basically, you just basically created a dream festival, and that's fine.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's like what I was thinking in my head. I was like, what if I just answer? Can I just play like Coachella, but can I pick all the artists? Like, can I do that?
All right.
Like,
that's allowed. So you've got Weekend, you've got Eagles, you've got Nirvana, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, Journey, and Pink Floyd.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine. That's
yeah.
Good.
I mean, you know what? Actually, The Weeknd would definitely work because he has a lot of very 80s and 70s influences in there. So yeah. I think the vibe would work. You know?
Okay, that's it. Well, sold. You've done it. I've got that's it. All the it's
perfect. Should I talk to Live Nation? They'll get all the tickets and stuff.
No worries. Yeah. Exactly, okay. And we'll have the Ouija board ready for those of us, for those that can't be there in person.
We'll set up a live stream. Don't worry, we got
it's
you.
A live stream to the afterworld. And we have the need to know question. Actually, I'm going to ask you another question before that, which is the most embarrassing moment question. Do you have a moment where you just cringe thinking of it, where you just want where they want the ground to open up and swallow you?
My answer back to you is, which one do you want? I got so many. Let's give you a really nice and fun and simple one.
Yeah, I don't want one that's going to ruin your career, your street cred.
Oh yeah, no.
Something that's
those ones are for me. Let's see. I mean, like, there's one time in 5th grade, we were walking in PE, and some kid just came up behind me and pantsed me in front of the whole grade, which was a lot of fun because everybody used to have to line up against the fence. And I just remember walking, some kid just walked behind me, but like that was one of the most embarrassing moments for sure.
That's like a insecurity dream moment, isn't it? Where you're kind of yeah.
There was this time I played a show, and I forgot what city I was in, and I said the wrong city. So there's that. I got so many. Austin, Texas, how are we feeling? You're in Nevada. Oh, shit.
Bottles coming up. Like the Blues Brothers, the bottles starting you.
You don't know how they're feeling, but we're feeling okay. Maybe not as good as we were 5 seconds ago, but
that's brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's and I have the recommendation part of the show now, which is where we ask you to who is the artist that people may not have heard of that they need to know.
Ooh. I think definitely people know about her, of course, but I don't know if she's as popular
here as she is in the rest of the world. But her name is Astrid S. She's Norwegian or Swedish. I can't quite remember. But like, I remember I used to be super obsessed with her, and her music was just so cool. She had a song called Jump, and like, it sounds like it's a song about suicide, which is like, it sounds really dark, but when she like did interviews and stuff talking about it, she's like, it's not about suicide at all. It's about taking a jump into doing something you were scared to do. And I was like, wow, like, I thought completely different. But, you know, then it's like, oh wow, you know, that like, she just has a really cool perspective. I love her voice. I love her tone. I think her production quality is really cool. Yeah, that I would say that's my answer right now. The other one would be because she's killing it right now, and she's just coming out. She just performed on Jimmy Kimmel a few days ago. Her name is Charlotte Lawrence, and she's amazing. Yeah, I love her.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put links to their stuff so people can check them out if they haven't heard of them. And just want to say thanks so much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I feel like I could have gone on. It was really interesting. There's like so many more things I'd like to talk to you about. maybe we can come back on again in a few months' time. We can have a bit of an update on how you're getting on, and
100%.
Wishing you all the best with everything with the upcoming singles and the EP, and hoping to see you back out live as soon as possible, and maybe take the trip over here to London and come and see us.
I 100% want to. Actually, it's really funny. Before Overboard started working in the US, it worked over in England first.
Aha! Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You've got obviously a massive, hungry fan base waiting for you here. It'd be like, when the Beatles landed in America. It'd be like that in reverse. You'd be have these screaming girls at Heathrow Airport.
Hariz mania.
Listen, thanks. Listen, take care of yourself, and best of luck with everything you're doing this year. And
thank you so much, Ronan.
Wish you continued success, and thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, man.
For sure.